John. Some of you know me from teaching Sunday school, so I'd like to just call me Teacher John. That is fine. I answer to anything. And I really thank God, especially in answering his call to be able to speak to you today. Because this subject of the tongue, I have to admit, is something that I still have a problem with. Okay? And so, for God to allow me to really study this subject is truly a blessing on my part, so that I can likewise hopefully master my tongue. So in essence, as part of the study, I would like to portray to you what God is saying in the subject. James himself has issues with the subject. Okay, so somebody like James has this issue. We better start paying attention. But you know, before I go on, what I would ask you to do and draw your attention to is this blue sheet. It's an evaluation form, okay? How many times do you get to evaluate the speaker? Well, here's your chance. I am taking a class on preaching, and I would love for you to provide input, okay, in terms of whether this message changed your life, whether this message changed your behavior. Because if I don't do that, I have not done my job, okay? Along with that, there's a response area here, which I'll collect later on. Either you can put it in the back of the AV table, or you can put it in the offering envelope, or I'm sorry, offering bag. Okay? So please, I would appreciate your help, and it's also to your benefit, since I'll be back whether you like it or not next week. So if I bored you to death today, please tell me, okay, and how I can improve. So I really would appreciate that feedback. And you know, talking about evaluation, did you know that this worship service, we are all performing in front of God for an audience of one? Okay, did you know that? And so I want all of you to get an A on this. And the way to get an A on this is very clear in John chapter 4, what God expects of us during this worship service. Okay? God talks about in John chapter 4 that God is a spirit. Therefore, we must worship him in spirit and in truth. What does it mean to worship God in spirit? What that means is that you take your whole mind, your whole being, your total focus in connecting with God. See what God has to say to us today, okay, through his word. And by God's grace, I will try to deliver God's truth on this subject. Okay, so please, I would ask that we would really get an A on this. But you know, I know it's very difficult because I've been there. I've been in your seat for quite some time when I was growing up. In fact, I probably had some more difficult situations than you may have encountered. Just like Uncle Tim and some of you, I was a pastor's kid. But compared to Uncle Tim, I mean, he was a saint. I was bad. I mean, I'm not talking about just Michael Jackson bad. I was really bad and really naughty. Okay? I mean, you know, I don't think any of you have experience of being kicked out of Sunday school. Any of you? Had to be physically removed out of Sunday school. That's how bad I was. Okay? And compare that, all of you are a saint. Okay? And in worship service, they did not have a teens worship. Starting from elementary school, I was forced into the adult worship. And not only that, my double punishment is to listen to my father speak. Okay? And worse yet, you know, I had enough 6 days of the week, let alone Sunday. And so I would do things to keep me entertained. Okay, as to now. Because he'll watch me. So if I fall asleep, you know, he's going to call me during the sermon to wake me up. How embarrassing that is. So I've learned to stay awake, but somehow look like I'm paying attention. One day I thought of a great way, so because he doesn't want me to look around and doing all these things, right? So I said, oh, I'll get a mirror. So here, I'll just put it in the insert, and I could look around, see what people are doing. Well, lo and behold, the mirror was spotting to the ceiling. So he could easily see with his mirror going back and forth, okay, what I was doing. Well, so that didn't work. So I had to think of other ways to keep me entertained during the worship service. So I said, okay, what I'll do is I'll memorize some of my homework. Okay, in elementary school, I got the preamble of the Constitution of the United States down pat. We the people of the United States, in order to form more people in the establishment, justice, and security, domestic transportation. Boom, I got that. I could even say the Gettysburg Address backwards. You want to see it? Yeah. 70 years ago, I love on this continent, new nation, conceiving liberty and dedicated to the proposition of all men and created equal. So I was using the worship service to be very productive in my own ways. So you know what? Don't follow my bad examples. Okay? I really wish that I had used the time to really worship God during the worship service. Because you can see that I am a trophy of God's grace. Okay? And it's amazing in terms of how merciful that God is. So, let's again ask that you bow your heads and pray and ask God to really show himself today. Okay, join me please. Father, Lord, we ask that you would help us to worship you in spirit so that the truth